So if you come to your Maya and you don't have or don't see a comment menu, you can either go to your mail command window in the bottom left corner and you can type in comment menu semicolon and hit enter. Sometimes it'll say cannot find procedure. I've had this happen to me a few times and I'm not sure exactly why that is. I think maybe because it's in the source and not the actual scripts folder, 2020 scripts folder. It's actually in the global scripts. So to fix that, you can actually just go to File, Open Script, and then I'll just go and grab comment menu and just open, and then it'll show up here. If you hit Control A and then hit Control Enter, that'll basically run that command, and it should give you a new comment menu that's placed up above in your menu list on the top there. So once you have that, and you can see this comment menu, so we have these tools: comment rename, modeling, shapes, display, constraints, and these are just some real fast and easy tricks for getting a rig started. So what we want to do is just bring in that the low poly model that we have for our mascot character. And so I want to look at this from the front view. So I'm just basically looking straight on in an orthographic front view and not perspective. So, and then also I will turn on X-ray and wireframe unshaded, just so I can kind of see the polygons and I also want to make sure that I can see my channel box. And so from here I will throw this under a new layer. So in the bottom right hand corner there's a display layer, and then so if you just select that mesh group, and we can let's see here, so we can create a new layer and assign the selected object, which is the fourth icon over. So now that we have this, we can just double click on this, come to the name and name it mesh, and we will just say for starters we'll just put it under a reference layer. And when we save that, so now we can actually, we won't select that mesh right now. So this is basically just so we can see kind of what we're doing here. So basically how we want to do this is kind of build out a system. So the basic system, obviously, not obviously, but our basic system starts with a root joint. Okay, so the root joint is usually going to be somewhere around the belly button area. So usually almost like right at the pant and shirt is usually where I like to put my root joint. And then right below that we'll have a hip joint, and then we'll have a top leg coming down to the knee, and then a knee joint to the foot, and then we'll have a foot to or basically an ankle joint to the ball of the foot, and then to the toe. And then from up here, usually I'll like to put either a 2 to 3 spine joint chain, so that comes off the root joint, and so we'll go up here, and then we'll have a clavicle, and so the clav usually sits like right around, right where we start raising our, if you feel on your own, like right under our neck, you can feel that clavicle joint, which usually rides along right here. Usually I'll put that down just a little bit, just so when he raises his arms, we get just a nice deformation when we go to skinning. And then we'll put our shoulder joint right about here, and then we'll go to our elbow, to the hand, and then from the hand joint, that's where we'll add, we'll usually add our finger joints. So we'll usually start, say the thumb back in here, and then this is where our finger collapses, where our thumb bends. So we'll put a joint here, and then just one to the end, and kind of the same with the fingers, where our joints are kind of, you can see where these little diamonds are. That's where we'll actually do our bends. So we just want to pay attention to that as we're setting that up. So first things first and then also moving up to the head, right? We'll put a neck joint basically right at his neck, and then we'll put a head joint which will start about right at his jaw area, and then we can place another joint up towards the hair. I'm not sure I'm going to actually use too much in regards to putting hair movement, but I might put maybe a simple chain just right here just to kind of get some extra motion. And we'll also go over a facial setup, how we would set that up, and we'll walk through that. So first things first, how we'll start, we'll just go back to our front view, and what we want to do is actually, I'll start it with just a basic locator, okay? So with this locator, I'll probably, since the very first locator is basically going to be all 0, 0, 0. And also one other thing that you want to pay attention to, you just want to make sure our mesh is actually, so I'm just going to turn this off so we can actually see where, so off of reference, and so here we can see our mesh group is basically at 0, 0, 0. Okay, so we can see that, and we can turn the grid on just to make sure. So we can see our grid we're basically right at 0, 0, 0. Okay, and that is just basically so like when we go to take this to a game engine like Unity, it will come in right at 0, 0, 0. So when we place that into the world, it basically gets placed exactly where we're putting it. And so, and scale kind of factors in as well. All right, so with this, we'll go back to placing this in under a reference, and I'll go back to my front view, and that marking menu. Also, I want to turn off my grid because I just don't want to use that right now. So to get that marking menu, if you hold down space and right click right in this Maya, where it says Maya, so you space and then right click, you can find all your views here. So you can go perspective, front view, or you can also hit the space bar, just tap it, and then that puts you back into the 4 views. So top, perspective, side, front, and you can work that way. I usually just like to use the fast marking menus, and then you can hit F to frame, A, so alright, so frame is F, so we'll just space and front view, and we'll just get started by adding a create locator. Okay, so with this locator, we'll probably set the root probably just right about the belt buckle. So right there. So in my current scale, I'm at about 100. So we'll just say 108. This doesn't really, it can be you can have decimals, decimal values if you want. That's not a big deal. So from here, and then with this locator, we'll name this root, and then I'll put LOC for locator. Okay, and then so from here, now what I'll do is just grab my, actually I'm going to just go to a right view, and also I want this to be kind of in the center. so of his torso. So as I'm looking to that, so it's basically right in the middle. Okay, so that's where his root is going to be. So with that, just go back to my front view, and I'll just duplicate, so Control D, and this makes a duplicate of that. And then I'm just going to move that guy right around his belt, where his hips. Okay, that's where he'll rotate from his hips. And so from here, you can actually just see that's where we're going to go from his hip rotation. Okay, so I just basically moved that down in the Y. I just translated in the Y down, so I want to name this hips loc. Okay, and then I also, from here, I'll go back to my front view, and I'm just hitting F, which is actually framing right on that locator. And from here, I will go to Control D again, and I will name this, let's say left leg loc. And let's move this. And so we're going to imagine that his rotation from his leg joint, so if I look in the right view, we can see kind of, we're going to basically go, and I'll probably just put a little rotation on that, so it's basically going to go down to here. So I'm just putting a little bit of rotation on that. Okay, and then from here I want to go back to my front view, Control D, and then bring this down to the knee, which we're going to just take another look and just make sure that that's where our knee bend is. So we're going to bend right there at the knee. So we want to make sure in right view, and I'll probably just take the rotation off, so just hit 0 and leave that. And I do want this to be, so if I go to my right view, and so I just want this to be a little out front, because I want the leg coming to the knee. Okay, and then from here we want to just name this left knee, and you can leave the loc 1, that doesn't really matter, and then I'll Control D that as well and name this left ankle, and I'll bring this one down to about where the ankle is. And so I want this to come back a little bit as well. We do want it kind of in the center, so we just want to make sure that we're just kind of rotating around and looking. So here, so I'm going to look in the front view as well, so just to see that our leg, so the knee looks like it's good, and the foot looks like it's in the center, and then we'll go back to perspective, and then back to our right view, and from here we'll Control D again, and this will give us our left ball location. So this one we want to be right where the bend, the ball of the foot, and then we'll do another Control D and put this one at the end, which is going to be left toe loc. So, and then I'll go back to perspective just to make sure. So with this left ball and the left toe, I'm going to bring these out. Okay, so, and this is just basically placement. These are just kind of like placement locators. that I use for a quick build on the joints. I've helped out on a few projects, and this is actually, it seems like it's kind of a it's kind of a waste of time, but this actually the joints, you can place the joints really fast once we get these locators kind of placed in here. And once we get to that, I'll show you. So now that I'll go back up to the root and then just Control D and go to my right view and frame. And for this first spine joint, I'm probably going to go like right about the belly button area, and I will come, so I do want a curve in my spine. So the curve's going to basically be, you can actually put, actually I'll probably pull a little forward, and then we'll come here and then back up to here. So with this one, we'll just name this Spine 01 Loc, and then duplicate, come about midway, a little forward, and this one we'll name Spine 02, and another Control D, and I'll bring this one up and then bring this back up to about his center point. And we can kind of look and see, we kind of want to look at the spacing. So look from the front view and just scroll out. So we can kind of see, I kind of want it like basically right at his armpit area, but just a little bit above. And so we'll name this, we'll just name this Chest Loc. And Spine 2 I'll probably move down just, well actually I want it to be on that actual loop there, so that will be fine. So do you like to just select all three and you can kind of see the spacing in between there. And then from here we'll just Control D and place this clavicle right about here like so. Just a little bit off the center line, but close, still close. And we want to think about like as our clavicle. So currently how this looks, we can see that our arm is basically coming down like this. So I want the clavicle to be up a little higher than I probably would put it if I was in an A-frame, A pose. If I'm in an A pose, I want to be basically kind of down low, so I'm not putting an extra amount of rotation when we lift the arm up. So from here, if I want to just place this like right about here, okay, and then I'll name this one left. So left clav Loc. And from here we'll control, actually we'll want to look from the right view and see where this clavicle, so the clavicle is going to end, we basically want almost in the middle of that chest area. Okay, so then we'll go back to the front view and Control D again, and we'll put our shoulder like right at our, so I'm going to put this in perspective, and from here I'll go to the right view, and so I want to look at that arm, how it's, so I'm just kind of rotating around, basically right in the middle of that, like visually, like if we're looking at that from the front, we can actually just tweak this just a little bit. Okay, and then for this one, so we'll name this one left arm Loc, and then Control D, and then this one, we can actually just grab it, and we want to put this right about his elbow. So in front view it looks good, so we want to just go to the right view, side view, and just kind of look at that from that, and then also give it a once round. Just take a look and see. Kind of move this back a little bit. You want that so when this actually has a bend in the elbow. Alright, so I'm just going to look in the front view again and just make sure that I'm right in the middle of his elbow. And then also go back to the right view, pull it back just a touch, and then go back to the front view. And from here, we'll grab this one and name this one left elbow. Loc. And then Control D and come down to the wrist. So we'll just name this left hand. Loc. And I'll just go to perspective and then come up. So I just want to, so front view, I want to basically be at the wrist there. It's like right there at the wrist, and then look in the right view, which looks good, and then go to perspective and just kind of go rotate all around. You want that to be kind of right in the center. Okay, so now from here, as we're looking, I'll probably do this, and since he's kind of at an A-frame and not a T-pose, so there's two trains of thought. There you can actually you can model your character into a T-pose, or you can model him into an A-pose. And my character currently is in an A-pose. The reasons why are usually just because of shoulder deformation. Like a lot of people will model at a T-pose, which a T-pose also, another advantage of a T-pose is that your bones are straight, straight down one axis, where the A-pose is obviously not. There's some angles involved, and sometimes you get some weird IK solutions, but I haven't run into too many that make this a problem. So that's why I don't worry about that currently. But if you have other options, please feel free to go about modeling in a T-pose. And it's kind of the same thing. We just place these locators in the spots that we know where these joints are going to be deforming from. Okay, so with that, we'll just go to Control D again, and from here, I'm going to actually place this right at the first finger. And Maya does a pretty good job with trying to figure out where you're wanting to be, which looks about right. So, so from here, just want to make sure that my rotations, actually going to fake the rotation in here. So, like so. Just going to basically visualize going down the joint. So just like that. So you can see that locator is actually aimed this way. So with that, now when we Control D, we can just come down and right at the knuckle. And this makes it a little easier. So Control D, and let's come down to the next knuckle. Let's throw a rotation on that. And it looks like it's centered there. Not too bad. Alright, so for these ones I just want to actually name this left pointer 01, and this one, actually these three, One cool tool with the Comet tools, you can go Comet rename, okay, and then so we can actually just name this, rename this to pointer, okay, and then we'll start with 1, and then we'll put 0, 1 for padding. Okay, and then if we rename this, we'll get pointer 1, 2, 3. So actually we want this to be 01 with a padding of 1. So rename, or is this 01? Start with 01, padding of 1. Okay, anyway, we can also, just because I want to check this, I'm going to actually name this pointer star. Okay, so from here, we could just try and rename those again. It's 2 padding. Actually, yes, 2 padding. Okay. So, and then we want this. There we go. So now we got pointer 01, pointer 02, pointer 03, and we can add our prefix by saying left. Okay, and then here we can add our suffix of underscore loc, and then that just throws it on all of them. Okay, so I use this Comet rename quite a bit. Actually does a pretty good job. So with this 01, I'm just tweaking this just a little bit. So these guys, I'm actually going to, so I'm actually going to parent these together. So I'm going to select 2 to 3 to 2 and hit P, and then 2 to 1 and hit P. So now I have this in a parent-child relationship. Okay, so this guy is a child of 2, 2 is a child of 1, 1 being the parent. Okay, so 1 is at the very top of the chain, and then 2 is a child, and then 3 is a child of 2. So if I was to rotate these, I get these guys following along. If I select all 3 of them and then select, I'll get this. Okay, so I'm all rotating on Z, getting that instant chain on the finger. So from here, I'll actually just duplicate this, and actually going to select these ones, go to the Comet Tools, rename, and these ones I'm actually going to name middle, and start at 1, and the padding is going to be 2. Rename. So I got middle 01, middle 02, middle 03. Okay, and then prefix I will say left. So add that prefix, and then the suffix I want underscore loc. Add suffix. Okay, so from this one we can just bring this parent right over to the middle finger and rotate. This just makes it a little easier for placement. And then so this number 2, we're going to actually have to move up, and then 3, let's move down. Let's see. And you just want to make sure that you check all these locations in all views. Okay, so where we see, this is going to be basically our centers of our joints where they're gonna get placed. Okay, so with this one I'll Control D from left middle 01, and this group I'm going to select. So select the first one, hold down Shift and select the lowest one, and for this one I will rename this and call this Pinky, and just rename a number. So Pinky 01, then I can hit add prefix, add suffix. So now I have my left pinky, and I can just come over here to the pinky and bring this up here and just add the rotation. This just makes it a little easier with actually setting this the fingers up a little bit easier. I find this a little bit easier doing it this way. This way I'm not fiddling with where my joint situations are actually what's going on with my joints. So I select all three and then rotate. That way they all rotate on the same axis. So 2, I'm going to just move up to that point, and then 3, I will come up to this joint here and move this down just like so. Okay, so from the left pointer I will Control D, and this one I want to name this thumb, and so I'll rename and number, add prefix, add suffix, and so from the thumb I want to rotate and bring this one up to the thumb. And so I'm just actually pushing this back into, so I want this to be like so. So this one I actually want to come down like that. And then with 2, I want to actually come down to that joint. And this one's only going to have the one joint that basically rotates from that thumb socket there. So this third one, it's not super important actually, so we'll just put it on the end. So the number 1 spot, actually I might come back and down just a little bit, and then the end I want to push in. Okay. So to hide the mesh, just to see kind of like what our structure is looking like, we can just hit the V. Okay, this first one, V is for visibility. So we just select that and we can turn that off. And so now what we can see is kind of so if you run an imaginary line, so from root to hips to leg, so you just draw that line straight out, and it goes up the spine, and then down the hand, down the arm, into the hand. So we have that kind of structure. And so we'll turn the body back on. And for this next one, we'll go to the chest, okay? And then we're going to duplicate and bring that up to the neck. It looks like it's basically centered for the most part. Just kind of moving that down a little bit. And so this one, just want to name neck, look, and Control D. And this one, so if I go to the right view, and I want this basically right about his jaw, or right at the base of his, like right kind of where your jaw would sit. So like if we visualize this, so right at the base of the skull there. So this one we'll name head underscore look. Okay, so with that as basically a basis, okay, so from here we can actually Control D the head, loc, and just bring that, like to just basically put that right at the base of the head, or right where the hair, top of the hair, and we'll just name this head top look. All right. So from here we can actually add our face structure in here as well. Okay, so what we want to do is actually go to the head, go to the right view, the head locator, okay, and if we Control D that, and we name this jaw, look. Okay, so this jaw we want to basically right kind of under the ear. We're trying to visualize, so like we're going to rotate from where the jaw hinge, basically the hinge of the jaw is going to happen. Okay, so like right under the ear, kind of like so, and we'll just actually bring that down, and so it's going to rotate from right here. So I'll actually add another, I'll just dupe this, the jaw loc, and put this more towards the end. So it's just kind of the end of the jaw. So I'll name this jaw end loc. Not law, we want jaw. There we go. Alright, so from the jaw location, we'll just Control D that, and we want to bring this one up. And actually I'm going to reset the rotation values, so there's no rotations on anything. And from here, what I will do is actually, this kind of puts this at the center. This is kind of a little trick for the center of center of the eye. So with that, okay, so we have that guy selected, and if we hold down the V key, that's going to snap to vertices. So if we hold down V and actually just middle mouse drag, or V, whoops, actually, let's try that again. Okay. Yeah, it was middle mouse dragging, but if you hold down V, and then you can actually just left mouse drag, and so I'll put that right at the eyeball, okay? And then from this point, if you just go straight back, and if we look in the right view, so this rotation we want to basically happen right at the, okay, so actually if you select, so another trick too is actually if you select the Y, okay, the Y channel, and then hit V, and then just basically if you left, whoops, V key on this guy. So we want this to basically, if we actually go V from this, whoops, so V to there, and frame this, and then go to rotate. We want these two lines to basically be almost perpendicular with that. And then here, go back to, So if we go hold down the V key in the Y, oops, there we go. So V, and then if I come back here, and it's like so. So the eye is going to rotate around that. Okay, so from there we'll actually name this left eye loc. And from here I probably want to place, I'm going to probably do 3 around the eyelids. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I'll just Control D and come to, actually I'm going to turn off my X-ray. So from here I can actually see this right on the eyelid. Okay, so from here, if I grab so my move key and V and then snap basically right to that point, and so that's going to be kind of where I'm looking. This next one, so V and snap here, and I'll probably put this like right here on this lid area, and I want to just look around here, and then Control D again, and then hold down V like so. So I want this to be, so V, just to make sure that that's on that point. So this eyelid. Okay, so let's see. So this one, we're going to use our Comet rename again. So here we'll rename this to upper lid, and we'll put left as a prefix and underscore loc as a suffix. Start at 1, 2 padding, and rename. So upper lid 1, 2, 3, so it's 1. Actually, we want this one to be 1, this one to be 2, this one to be 3. So just need to make sure my selection was just off. So if I undo, Control Z, Control Z. So we want this one first, this one second, this one third. And so we'll go to rename and add prefix, add suffix. So this is 2, it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'll just grab these guys and duplicate them and then bring them down and bring them forward so I can see them. So this one, I can hold down V and just put that there, grab this guy, put that there. This one, probably move this right down here. This is going to be just so we can control that eyelid. So with this one, we'll just go 1, 2, 3, and we'll name this bottom lid. Rename, add prefix, add suffix. So 1, 2, 3. All right. And then for this next one, we'll grab this, the second one, we'll just duplicate that, and we'll name this cheek. And then here, since we have left and locate already in the prefix and suffix, we can just say add prefix and suffix, and then go to our W move key. Whoops. Because I had rename, I was in the rename window, so I just want to come out into this window and hold down V and then just left drag there. Kind of that'll be for the cheek. Alright, so the next group we're going to probably add, so we'll put an upper lip, mid-upper, left corner, lower lip, lower mid lip, and then a lower lip. So, and the reason why I'm working just on the left-hand side is because we can mirror. Okay, so once we get this all built up, we'll be able to just mirror over our joint locations. So from here, if we select this left cheek and duplicate, and for this guy, we'll just name this, we'll rename this to top lip. And just that, since that's a single. And from here, we want to actually just hold down V, and whoops, and then we'll place that right on the top of the lip here. So we'll control this region. Okay, so control D, and so this will be top, or actually I like to say left top lip. And then here we can also hit Control V, just kind of place, this is going to control this area, Control D, just say left corner, and then hold down the V key, come to the corner, lip corner. Okay, probably push that back just a touch. Alright, and then Control D and V, and come to the lower lip area. And for this one I'll be left lower lip. And then also Control D again, just to duplicate, hold down V, drag over to the bottom. So now we got a bottom lip. So for this one, just double click, say bottom lip. And then for all these, select these and just add a loc, just for locator. So now I have all the locations for the lip. And now for the brow. So for the brow, I'll just select this top lid and duplicate, and then go to the V key and basically place this right in the very first location here. And so for this one, we'll just, on this brow, we're going to say brow 01 and Control D, and we'll just drag this guy over here, and we kind of want this to be in the middle, so basically in the middle like that, and then Control D again. And if you hold down V, come here, oops, probably put it right here on this end, and then come back off of that. So if you can also snap to curve, it just goes right on, whoops, just stay on the curve like that. So we have brow 1, 2, and 3. And so with this selected, we can add our left prefix and the loc suffix. Alright, so I think that's good for now. We have our eyelid, upper eyelid, lower eyelid, eyeball, and our 3 brow locations, and our lips. We have a top lip, a left top lip, left corner, left bottom, and a bottom lip, and then our jaw. Okay, so all that should be good to go. So we have all of our locations. So from here, I will select all these locators, and if you hold down Control G, that makes it a group. Okay, so locators group. So this mesh group, mesh underscore GRP is just our mesh, then our locators group. So you can see all of our locators. So if I turn off the wireframe on shading, you can see, actually if I go X-ray, you can see all those locator placements. Alright, so we can collapse that, and this next part we will start adding joints.